Good morning and welcome to the Sport for Business Daily. I'm joined this morning from the UK by Jeremy Wray, who is the CEO, founder, creator of a new concept in horse racing, the Racing League. You're very welcome to the show, Jeremy.
Thanks. Morning, Rob.
Tell me something. We've got a story now that we're going to have 6 specific race days with 6 races each and competed for by teams on the racetrack. Not quite the idea of the traditional view of horse racing. Tell us a little bit about how it's going to work.
No, certainly not the traditional view, and hopefully an evolution of the sport that provides something a little bit different. So we're going to have 12 teams, as you say, and each team is going to be represented by 2 to 4 trainers working together, with 3 jockeys committed to each team. So we'll get used, instead of a jockey changing his colours after each race, which has been part of the anonymity I think that racing faces quite often, and finds it difficult to promote some of its protagonists because they change their colours the whole time, unlike other sports. In this, the jockeys in each team will only ride for that team for the duration of the competition, so that's a major change. Each team will have a squad of 30 horses, which will be announced in advance of the competition, and they will work with that squad between them to plot their way through the 36 races that comprise the Racing League.
Okay, and race distances or anything in particular about the tracks that's going to, like, I presume there will be a mix of them. They won't all be just big 6 furlong sprints.
No, quite so. We want the squads to cover as broad a range as possible. So I think what we're trying to do is get some consistency and familiarity with the format. So each of the 6 in their racing nights will have 6 races, each in distance from 5 furlongs, 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs, a mile, mile and a quarter, mile and a half. Not necessarily in that order, but it'll be a set order, and only open to those 12 teams. And each team will be entering one horse in each race, as simple as that, with points from 25 to the winner down to 1 point for 10th place. So you're going to have horses all the way down, ridden out, because every point matters. In fact, that's very much our tagline. So it's not a situation so often in racing, certainly my experience, by the time the horses come into view, my horse is out with a washing miles out, and there's an exciting finish going on and the stragglers are walking over the line. Well, hopefully with this, even those that aren't winning the race are going to be fighting it out for those crucial points, because as I say, every point matters in the overall league.
I could imagine walking into the World Athletics Federation or into Formula One and pitching an idea like this. Not quite so easy to imagine it in a traditional sport like horse racing, which has proven its charms, but it's also proven its resistance to innovation that moves away from that original concept of owner, trainer, jockey, with the race goers and the betters somewhere beyond the pale.
No, I think that's absolutely right, and I think for taking on this challenge, and it has been a challenge, there's no doubt. But I think an analogy with the sport like cricket is probably appropriate, in as much that roll back 20 years in cricket before the introduction of T20, and you were probably dealing with an equally or possibly more traditional and staid organisation that is looking at a sport that has done it a certain way for certainly hundreds of years. And if you look how that has evolved in a relatively short space of time to the product we have now, and with 100 coming on next year, you effectively imagine going in and having that meeting where you suggested an idea where we played in different coloured clothing rather than just traditional cricket whites, that we wanted to play pop music every time a batsman came out to bat, and we wanted fireworks when they scored a 6, you would have had short shrift from the organising body. And I think, it obviously, anybody who's bringing any sort of change or innovation to a sport like that, you are going to have people who are sceptical as to how it works. And I think the important thing is to bring people along with you on this journey. It's very much an evolution, not revolution. I mean, to the traditional race goer, what are they going to see? They're going to see on that night 6 compared to race 12 horses. Now that's rare in itself these days. So often there's an uncompetitive race in amongst all the others, and maybe small fields. But each race is going to be competitive. Let's hope that it's an audience is allowed there, because it's very much the feel of the whole event wants to be something where the spectators can get up close with their teams. So we want to use the infield, think much more like Formula One actually, with the paddock club, and have an opportunity from a commercial aspect where sponsoring brands who we're hoping to put across the shirts, as you might see again in Formula One, or obviously in sports like football, where they've got their sponsors on the team shirts, but that those sponsors get real value because they can genuinely interact and engage with their fans. And we're thinking very much of the infield, using that there's a team hub for each team, which is where the fans and spectators can get close to the jockeys and the team members, and indeed the sponsors. So we want to present it in a way that other sports may well have found far more natural than racing has up to date.
And in relation to how you've progressed, obviously the idea to this point where it's being announced now, it's going to take place next summer,
yep.
Public health and every other consideration notwithstanding. How far down the road with potential sponsors and race courses and owners and trainers are you at this point in time?
So in terms of the race courses, that's part of the announcement today, is that we have gone with, we're working with Arena Group. And from that point of view, they've got a broad portfolio, and we've taken 2 from the north of the country and 2 from the south, because we want that sort of breadth of coverage. So we'll be racing in Newcastle and Doncaster in the north, and we'll be racing in Lingfield and Windsor in the south. And that's also to represent the fact that the teams are very much going to have a geographical bias as well. So we've got teams from Newmarket and Lambourne, we've got teams from the north and the south, hopefully a team from the Midlands as well, and indeed potentially overseas teams. So that's very much what we're hoping to get from, if you like, the tribal allegiance. The geography plays a big part in that.
Okay, you mentioned overseas teams. We do love a little bit of Anglo-Irish rivalry on the racetrack over here in Ireland. Have there been any discussions or any thought as to there being a Team Ireland to actually go with on this?
Look, I don't want to jump the gun, but I really hope so. We have had a couple of preliminary discussions with a couple of people. It's something we are extremely keen on for the reasons that you mentioned. I think the Anglo-Irish rivalry, certainly at something like Cheltenham, makes that sporting spectacle. And I think in any event, if you have got something that, the tribal element is important. Country is the obvious place of jingoism, pride, supporters, whatever you want to call it. So, we'd love to have a team over from Ireland, and that's certainly something I'm going to be working on in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully can announce something when we start announcing all the teams, because we're very keen.
Great. Well, we will very much look forward to that. For the moment, though, congratulations on getting an original concept as far as you have, and the very best of luck for next summer for the Racing League. Hopefully, we'll have some Irish interest in it as well. But for the moment, anyway, Jeremy Wray, thanks very much for taking the time to be with us this morning.
Well, thank you for the time, and fingers crossed, yes, that it all goes ahead as we both hope. Cheers.